Stay connected. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.
It is 7:05 before we officially open the meeting. We do have a public hearing, and before that I'd like to remind everybody, as we are returning to in-person meetings, we ask that all spectators, and this actually does include everybody in the gallery, including city employees, regardless of vaccination status or other, to be masked and masked throughout the meeting. And up front, mayor and council have the option of removing masks while seated if we are vaccinated. And we're going to have some, I'm choosing to remain masked because I've been following the news and it's just safer to be this way, safer for the people around. If there's any issues, we want to make sure everybody who would like to attend the council meeting is able to, and this affords us the best opportunity to allow people to attend the meeting and participate in their local city government. So we thank everybody for their understanding and adherence to the safety standards that we have here in City Hall. Starting off, we have a public hearing closing a portion of Albina Avenue, and the intention with the closure is then a dedication. It will go to the hospital. I can't take a word.
Sports.
Property would go, a portion of Albina would go to the hospital, and it would become part of the parking lot, which results in pedestrian safety upgrades and an increased presence in terms of greenery and repaving of the parking lot. So the public hearing is officially open. Public hearing regarding the potential closure of a portion of Albina. And is there anybody that was signed up before the meeting to speak to this? Nobody on the sign-in sheet? Is there anybody present that would like to speak to this? Second call. Give it a couple seconds. You want to say?
Well, just a couple things on it.
I'm pointing your mic to that. Just switch up. Switch. There you go.
Just a couple things from the last meeting. Did any of this stuff get addressed that the couple residents on that street had concerns about, or did anybody reach out to the hospital?
So I did have
I
a
think it was the
conversation.
snow removal stuff.
Yes, I think Dovey and myself had a conversation, and then had a conversation with Denise Rinn at the hospital. And one of the reasons why this is a public hearing, and we're not asking for any action or anything, is to give further time for concerns to be addressed.
And also, Nick might be able to answer this. Are we still going to have a right-of-way on that street? I'm assuming there's underground utilities that go up through there, correct?
There is underground utilities.
So we'll have a, I guess what you call an easement?
I believe that's in the works.
Okay. Just to make sure we should probably have that before it gets turned over to them.
And that's why Nick and I talked. I'm Walter, right? Thank you. We will call the public hearing officially closed and ask everybody please rise if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up, we have public comments. I believe we have at least one person for public comments this evening. Amy Buggs. Don't worry, we're not going to start the clock till you get there.
Kind of close.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me here tonight. I just have a very short request. Porch Fest is happening August 15th, Sunday, 12 to 4. I have a request that we allow a group to do a chicken barbecue during Porch Fest, with proceeds going back to the Porch Fest committee to be donated. I'm coming to you because on the initial application it was not checked that there would be food vendors, and I guess I'm just asking permission for that to happen. It was just a late request, and today was the last day. I won't know 100% for sure until tomorrow, actually, because they're meeting tonight, but I wanted to get it done if possible today.
Very good. So, council, with permission, throw this in on the agenda as item number 1 for discussion. So,
Okay.
we'll come back to you
Okay.
as soon as we get down to the first agenda item, and then we'll renumber everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Very good. And second person for public comment, Connie Soros. Connie, are you familiar with the rules that are expected of public?
Yeah. I was going to speak to you only as a taxpayer, but I guess I can really speak to you as a taxpayer and a city employee on this matter.
Excuse me, Connie, I hate to do this, but can we just let people take their mask off when they're speaking so they're easier to understand?
Council?
I can understand her.
I can't understand it.
I can.
Just a request, well, I guess not.
I'm just here to address the proposed burn barrier and my strong support, not only as a city resident, but I'm very happy to see a previously empty property within the city limits to go back on the tax rolls to help ease the burden. It's also an outfit that does their homework, does things properly, follows all the rules, and I don't see why we should not get behind them 100%. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Connie. Is there anybody present that did not have the opportunity to sign up to address council? Hearing none, seeing none. Ward reports. And shall we start with the first ward?
All right, thank you. So it's been relatively quiet in the first ward. There was a public meeting prior to the public hearing this evening. There was a public meeting held by the hospital for that closure of the portion of Alpena Ave that happened last month. And the other thing I wanted to just mention is that we are looking forward to Porch Fest coming up in March. So otherwise, it's been pretty quiet on the ward.
Very good. Second ward.
It's also been quiet in the second ward. A lot of people, a lot of the local landlords up on the hill have been looking after their properties, taking care of things, getting ready for the students to come back. I have had some issues with people throwing shoes over the wires on Lower Clayton Ave, and DPW's been helpful with that. Counted 7 pairs within 1 block of Clayton Ave. There's 1 pair, I think, dangling up Hill Street at the bottom of the street. I don't know where these people get all these shoes they can throw away, but apparently they've taken some down and they're going after these as well. And I had an issue with a constituent who had concerns on Maple Ave, but he addressed those with the codes department, so I want to thank both of those departments for their help. Thank you.
Very good. Third ward.
Things have been pretty quiet in the third ward, just the usual kind of phone calls here and there. I just want to thank all of our department heads. Wherever I give them a call, they consistently help me problem solve whatever issues we're dealing with, so I appreciate that. And I wanted to congratulate Jesse Abbott on his retirement. He's already missed. He had a fantastic career, and I want to wish him well. And I know he left a while ago, but this is a meeting since then, so that's it.
Sixth ward.
It's quiet in the 6th ward. We have had another complaint in the speed zone on 13 by Wendy's. We're in the field of that. I talked to the lady today, and just as the progress on that through the state. Rick and I have been working on that. I have made contact with somebody within the state, and also a friend of mine, Keith Van Gorder, who works for the state, and he is in the process of moving that forward to getting at the top of basically the top, to get it resolved as to getting the speed zone changed. Hopefully, the more complaints the better, get it resolved that way. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Seventh ward.
All quiet in the 7th ward.
Eighth ward.
8th ward, well, we always have something going on. I met with an individual regarding some of the general topics of discussion regarding some of the things going on in our ward. It was a lengthy discussion with this individual, and I'm certainly glad to field any calls like this, and also make a personal means to actually stop by the residence and speak to this individual. Also had a well, I want to say also made a call to a New York State DOT representative regarding the burn dairy proposal, and we spoke at length discussing some of the issues that pertain to the project in general regarding traffic, pedestrian, groundwater, as well as a few other issues that may impose this kind of a proposal in this area. And I'm certainly waiting for some more feedback back from the DOT regarding some of the things that they're going to find regarding this study as well. And Troy has also been in contact with this individual as well, so it's kind of a joint board effort to kind of field some of these questions regarding our constituents. On the flip side, reunion of the ages Saturday night. It was an excellent event on Port Watson Street. I had a chance to meet up with a lot of my old East End friends that I haven't seen in years. And I also want to extend many thanks to Andy and Rhonda Moore, Otto and Rick Janke, and Joe Higgins for putting together this event and making it happen, and all their efforts and hard work into it. This was a great success, and certainly it was attended by many from Cortland area as well as out-of-state residents. And it was an excellent day as well. The music was great, and something the mayor failed to mention that he also received a plaque that he can probably reiterate a little bit more on this, but it's certainly a well-attended event, and that's all I have for the Age Ward. Thank you.
Very good, thank you, Tom. For the mayor's report, I have a proclamation that I would like to read, and this is about somebody who's retiring very soon. So I'm going to start off. The world needs geniuses in policy and program design to build a better community for children and parents. Susan Sue Dale Hall has given our community the benefit of her leadership for almost 30 years. So whereas Sue Dale Hall, in August of 1992, succeeded Margaret Ferry Dillon as the Executive Director of the Daycare and Child Development Center of Tompkins County, promote the healthy development of children and families at home, in child care, and in the community. And she partnered with the Tompkins County Chamber of Commerce and Cornell University to initiate a study of the impact of child care on the local economic development, and this ended up being replicated across the country. She also helped engage the employer community with regard to supporting child care, including assisting Cornell and others with the design and implementation of child care employee benefits. She worked to expand the teen pregnancy and parenting program, TP3, with private-public partnerships for family support services focused on strength-based prevention and early intervention to improve child and family well-being and reduce foster care placements. As she continued, she shepherded the council's certification with New York State Quality Stars and Standards of Excellence, and provided leadership for New York State's networks of Early Care and Learning Council, Winning Beginning New York, and New York 0 to 3. Sue also helped to navigate the merger with the Cortland Area Child Care Council, launching the Child Development Council of Central New York, Incorporated, and in 2011 and 12, co-organized advocacy efforts with child care centers in Cortland that expanded family support services within our county, and reveled in annual events for kids, families, and child care providers such as Kidsville and Playdate. And having been an attendee with a child, it was a very fun event. Sue has also adeptly sustained and expanded council programs all the way through the 2021 pandemic, including critical access to child care for essential workers and online family and provider support and consultations, safely distanced delivery of basic needs supplies to people, and management of CARES funds disbursements for providers. Sue also has helped to inspire numerous interns, volunteers, donors, employees to advocate for early care and learning policy at local, state, and national levels with initiatives such as Vote with Kids in Mind, The Raising of America, the Future of Early Child Development and Our Nation, and Adopt a Classroom, Intergenerational Coalition for Child Care. She has also advised numerous policymaking, philanthropic, and community groups on local and state initiatives for meeting the early care and learning needs in both Cortland and Tompkins County. And this includes Seven Valley Health Coalition's Cortland Counts Community Forum, Guthrie, Cortland, and Cayuga Medical Centers, the United Way organizations of both Cortland and Tompkins County, the Community Foundation of Tompkins County Birth to 3, the Chambers of Commerce for both Cortland and Tompkins County. She's worked with the legislatures of Cortland and Tompkins counties, and also with the mayors of Cortland and Ithaca, and school boards of education. On the educational side, she has collaborated and worked with not just Cornell, but also Ithaca, TC3, and SUNY Cortland. She's worked with the Southern Tier and Central New York Regional Economic Development Councils, and also New York State Assembly members from Districts 125, 126, and New York State Senators in Districts 51 and 58, which represent Cortland County. Sue has positioned the council for the future and also for the following innovative goals: building access to child care, an early childhood education fund, strengthening families, welcoming babies, and has been a tremendous resource for everybody who has been in contact with her. So now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Ryan Tobin, Mayor for the City of Cortland, recognize and ask everybody to congratulate Sue Dale Hall on her impending retirement, and with deep respect and gratitude for her vision, leadership, and dedication to the youngest in all of our communities, and all those who love them. Round of applause for Sue. Not present this evening, she's officially retiring. I believe it is August 12th, and looking forward to congratulating her and thanking her. Mayor's report. As Tom mentioned, Reunion for the Ages was this past Saturday. And those who do not know, it's a reunion of a number of fairly sizable number of Cortland High School graduates. And it's some of the young guys like Tom Michaels, and then there's some other people there as well. And they do a tremendous job of fundraising, and they are supporting community members and others who they went to school with who are encountering some challenges in terms of their lives. So it was a benefit and a great time, and it was nice to see people getting together and outside and enjoying each other's company. Minutes from our last meeting. Approval from minutes. We have a motion to consider the minutes. Katie Silman, second. Troy Beckwith, discussion. Any changes for the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor of filing the minutes as is, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Very good. So we added an agenda item, Porch Fest, consideration of a resolution to allow a chicken barbecue, and let me add, pursuant to all the approvals necessary by the Cortland County Health Department and relevant city departments, which I believe it might fall under code, potentially fire and police. Motion to consider said resolution. Troy, second. Kat. Amy, can you come forward, please? Can I ask, has there been discussion about where it might take place and what it would look like? Can you give us a little more detail?
I would love to give you more detail if I had some.
I'm out of town.
Or it would have been at my house, but anyway. As far as I know, the person that I've been talking to about this was going to ask if they could put the actual chicken barbecue, whatever it is, barbecuer, in a neighbor's unoccupied driveway at the upper end of Van Hoosen Street. I believe that's the intention. Like I said, we'll know more tomorrow, unfortunately. If it's not going to be in the neighbor's driveway, it would probably have to be on the street in that vicinity somewhere.
Have you had food at Porch? You've had food at
Yes,
Porch
we have
Fest
had
before.
food at Porch Fest before, but
Have you had a chicken barbecue pit before?
no,
Okay. Just
Nope.
curious.
Is this a group that's experienced with doing chicken barbecues?
Yes.
Or is this their first foray?
no, this is not their first foray, no.
They know Amy will be her last.
Are you saying that you would like to do the chicken barbecue next year?
Volunteering.
Looks like it.
I think so.
So in terms of council, in terms of an approval, typically we're asking for department heads to weigh in and make sure that everything is squared away, knowing the event, the organizers, and that this is something that has been done by a group before. We're still going to hold everybody to the standard. So Amy, this is not a final approval.
Right.
It has to pass everything that is required between the county health
And-
department and
They know that. They
Very
know,
good.
I talked to them prior to our conversation and they know that they have to get those permits.
So maybe a quick suggestion that once you narrow the location, maybe put some signage pointing chicken barbecue this way so that people know where it actually is.
It's
Yes.
in a good town, we'll be able to smell it a block away.
Depending on which way the wind's blowing.
You could probably see it from one end of the street to the other.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So I'm assuming if it's in the street, there's gonna be barricades, et cetera.
The street is closed anyway, so
Street's closed
yes,
already?
yes,
Okay. I don't know.
yes.
council, any further questions?
No?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
So
Thank you, Amy, and have, as soon as you know, have a reach out.
I'll have them reach out to your office or Devin. Okay. Thank
Devin's
you.
office, and then we'll do everything to expedite to make sure that we're doing what we should.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, agenda item number 2, update on infrastructure work within the city. Nick Dovey, threw a curveball, we got the podium on the other side. I've seen a couple of newly paved streets, I've driven down them, and man, it's tempting to go fast when the streets are smooth.
Good evening, everybody. Just a brief update on some of our projects we've got going on. We've got everything completed as far as what we're paving, minus Delaware. That's still, as you can see, if you go down there, gas company's got it pretty tore up at the moment. We finished the lower end of Pleasant and some drainage work and paving on Excelsior. We did, some regular maintenance stuff. We finally got the tub grinder, fired up for the season after being down for months and months. We've been trying to keep up on the foliage. Other street work that we have going on is, I think we are fully completed with all the manholes and catch basins that are on the streets that Sucoat is going to come in and pave probably next month. So that's good. And as far as our big projects, we're still working on the Owego Street Southside drainage. Sewer laterals are almost complete. We've got a couple tie-ins to do, and then we'll move on to the storm sewer. As far as the bigger contracted projects, phase 1 of Gateway is 95% complete. I think they're just putting the light poles up or putting some finishing touches on those. As far as phase 3, the bigger portion of the project seems like that they're on schedule. With talks with the contractor, they're pretty comfortable of where they're at, that they'll be able to finish up to the tracks with final grade pavement by the end of the season. I think that what they're working on right now is the light pole bases on the north side of Clinton, and they're starting some bioretention basins between Pomeroy. They're starting at Pomeroy heading west, doing some under drain, and they're going to be starting some curbing. So it's pretty rough down there. I ask you to be patient, and if you need to absolutely go down there, proceed with caution. You guys have any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
As you exit the freeway and come into Cortland,
Yep.
there are two posts, one by Wendy's and one by, they're new and they
Yep.
have the names of businesses on them.
Yep.
And those are like, welcome to Cortland.
Yep.
Is there going to be anything in arch or anything connecting them, or is that it?
That's it. The masonry walls?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
There is still lighting, it's gotta get
Yeah.
put up.
Okay.
Yep.
Around back order.
I think 6 of them came in today, out of the 10, and that's, so, yeah. But,
Any questions for Nick?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
I guess last thing, and as an afterthought, we haven't started, I'm not sure whose ward that would be, maybe Bill's or yours. We haven't started, yours, Troy, the North Greenbush and Washington water main replacement, but we're slated to do that ASAP. Hopefully by next week we get the green light from the funding agency and we can start that project. So just an update on that. Yep.
Very
Thanks a
good.
lot.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of work taking place and continues to move forward. And speaking of work taking place, moving forward, discussion regarding the Suggit Park basketball court renovation project. And we have Jonathan Ernie and Andrew Petergrossi here to speak to it.
Good evening. You may recall me and Andrea gave a presentation PowerPoint via Zoom meeting earlier in the year. We wanted to return tonight to give you guys an update, a brief update on where we stand with this. Talk about the timeline, some additional donations that have come forth, and Andrea is going to speak about the design. This project's dependent upon the DPW and SUCO. They're doing a lot of work around town that Nick just outlined, but the plan is we need to grind the surface at Suggit Park, the basketball courts, and pave those. So from a timing standpoint, speaking with Nick, they thought it was best when they grind up Groton Ave, when they have the manpower and equipment nearby, scoot over to Suggit Park, grind that up, and then when they go to repave Groton Ave, do the same thing to the park. So that timeline, I believe, is in September. So we're somewhat dependent upon that project. The design work has been done. We've ordered the basketball standards, which are new glass backboards, posts, padding, and hardware. So that is all in place. As far as the donations, we're extremely grateful since we last talked to you folks that we've secured more support for this project. Andrea, I guess I can turn it over to you unless you want me to go over it. Go ahead.
So we received a $10,000 donation from Steve Franco at Bailey Place Insurance. Grew up on the basketball courts, still visit Suggit Park, and wanted to be a part of this project and help us complete the project. With the help of Jesse Abbott, we were able to secure all of the paint, the supplies to paint, and the court surfacing from Lowe's and Valspar. We had a meeting, I believe, in early June with them, and they're really excited. They will actually provide some staff for us to help paint the mural and put down the acrylic resurfacer. And then we also have a t-shirt campaign that we're working with Graphtex for. It's the court design on the back of a t-shirt, and the web store will be open starting tomorrow. We'll have the link on our Facebook page and our website, and all proceeds to that go right towards the project.
if you'd like, I want to just recap where we stand with the project budget. I had a few questions in regards to that. The project budget was around $40,000 to date with, you may recall, the Jim and Julie Boeheim Foundation, $15,000 donation. We stand at about $36,650. We also had individuals in the community, like Tom Michael, step up and support, as well as others, so we're grateful for that. Andrea's going to talk a little bit about the design, which you guys should all have in front of you.
The design. So we're working with local artist Molly Reagan. We've had a few designs, and we've decided on this right here. What it is a topographic map of Cortland County. The county's kind of the perfect shape for a basketball court. So center court is actually the center of Suggit Park. So if you see kind of right below that, that's College Hill. The east and west branch of the Ticonderoga River is on there. Yeaman Park is, how are you guys? To the right, the brighter yellows over there. That's where Yeaman Beach is actually. We're using two different colors, warm colors and cool colors for the courts. That's how we'll differentiate between the two. And we have local high school basketball players, varsity basketball players, who will help paint the mural when the time comes. I believe it will be in the spring because we have to let the pavement cure for 6 weeks after it's put down. So it's looking like a spring project. We're excited and ready to do it.
Really, really nice.
Thank you.
Any questions?
How much are the t-shirts?
So there's a long sleeve and a short sleeve. The short sleeve are $20 and the long sleeve are $25.
And where is the wax one?
It'll be on the GraphTex website, but we'll have the link on our Facebook page and our website. GraphTex supplied us with they call it a splash page. Got the image of the t-shirt and some information on there. So we'll have that up on both of our sites.
So the mural is going to be on the back. What will be on the front?
It's got a basketball, and we wanted to have Suggit Park, Cortland, New York on there somewhere. So around the basketball, it'll say Suggit Park, Cortland, New York.
Nice.
Yep.
When you say our website, Youth Bureau
The Youth Bureau website.
Youth Bureau website.
Perfect, thank you.
Should we put it on the city site too?
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever does that, Devin. Yeah. I'm just asking.
So we're hoping on our social media that it gets out to all the alumni all over the country, all over the world, and we can get some good purchases on there.
Tim will have it out there by the night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great work, you guys. Thank you so much. And that segues into agenda item that is now number 4, resolution to accept, recognize, and appropriate the following donations to the Youth Bureau. We have a sizable donation from Bailey Place Insurance, as was mentioned. Steve Banks is the principal there. Motion to consider. Captain McCarthy, second. Tom Michaels, discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Very good. And agenda item number 5, resolution to approve the second annual Community Matters Fair in Suggit Park. I'm going to ask for a motion to consider. Katie Silverman, second. Troy Beckwith, discussion. There's some information sent. Yes, we need to see. So last year, Labor Day weekend, the first annual Community Matters Fair took place, and April Betty put a lot of time and effort into it. Find an individual who really went above and beyond in terms of organization. I was able to help out. I had some of my swimmers from up at the college the day of the event help out, and some the night before. But that's another story for another time. But it was a tremendous event. There was over 500 people between attendees, volunteers, people that participated. With COVID restrictions, they maintained social distancing. When I say they, I should say we, everybody that was present, maintained social distancing regulations, restrictions, and I think it's safe to say there was a good time had by all. So this would be the second annual event over in Suggit. John, did she talk to you about September 5th?
Correct, Sunday, September 5th.
So Sunday, September 5th. And it looks like, and sounds like a lot of the same activities and games that were present last year. So council discussion.
Glad this is going to be a yearly event.
April could not be here, so I'm speaking on her behalf. I had a meeting with her last Wednesday, so I'm pretty clear on what she has planned. Troy?
Obviously, it was a bit of a, few of us might have to support it just because of the pandemic and everything, but I really think, obviously, that line of what's going on out there, so I think we should also make it be aware that we can, might have to pull it or whatever, so that's my concern. I certainly hope it can happen, but it's not looking good. So, it doesn't have to go that way.
Well, outdoors, masking if necessary, and we're going to make sure that we're putting in place the protocols that are appropriate and maintaining those throughout. And yeah, there was a lot of concerns for a couple of reasons last year, but when it's all said and done, everything went well.
Very well, it's great. I just wanted to point that out.
Kat?
I just have one question. You mentioned that there were 500 last year. The event application says 250 is expected. Is it being planned for a smaller event, or is it just different?
Well, in our conversation, she said in a perfect world, she'd like to see 1,000, but it was one of those things where people can show up. And by having it spaced out over a couple of hours, it gives people an opportunity, some people early, some people later. They did a wonderful job of counting and maintaining the number of 50 last year, believe it or not. And think about it, 500 people, it was 50 at a time, and they would tell people, okay, you have to wait. And this was in the whole park. So I'm confident that there will be more than 250, and the planning will be appropriate for a larger number. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you, council. Agenda item number 6, resolution to lift the hiring freeze for the Cortland City Police Department to fill 2 positions. And one is immediately. And Chief, do we have a date for the second one?
No, it's as soon as we can find qualified candidates or get a lateral.
But we do have 2 current vacancies, correct?
We have 2 current vacancies on our vote. These are 2 more vacancies that were risen.
So let me just say we're going to ask council to approve filling 2 positions effective immediately, as soon as it's practical.
Correct, thank you.
Very good. Okay, so these are vacant positions. These are not ones that we are anticipating becoming vacant. Motion to consider. Troy Beckwith, second. Bill Carpenter, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. And number 7, consideration of a resolution to allow the police department to fill the vacancies. Department will fill the community. We're getting a lot of questions, which is why this is included. The department will fill the community or policing position as soon as staffing levels allow. So motion to consider. Bill Carpenter, second. Bruce Tytler. Discussion.
Have you got some candidates you're thinking about, or you got a list of people, are you gonna do interviews on that, or actually filling the spot itself?
Right now, there's one individual that has stepped up to help with some of the programs that Jesse normally ran, in addition to his patrol duties. Right now, we're severely understaffed. We have 4 in academy. We have 2 vacant spots, which we have temporarily filled to go to an academy in Syracuse, both washed out rather quickly. So we have those vacancies and then these 2 other vacancies. We are certainly struggling to keep our minimum staffing on the road and answer calls for service to our community, which takes precedence. But once we can start hiring people, we are actively recruiting and advertising for lateral transfers to try to get some people in. And as soon as we feel that it's safe and we can keep numbers on the street, we would make the move to put somebody back in the community-oriented position, which is very valuable to this community.
I think Jesse's proved how valuable it is, but what he's done throughout the years, I think it's very important that we fill that.
Oh, sure, absolutely, I agree 100%.
Tremendous asset to the city.
Yep, and it has to be the right person.
Yeah.
It's not the position, it's the person.
And we have a couple of very qualified.
Great, thanks, Paul.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Just as a side note, the community-oriented policing position, we've talked about this before, but it was initially a grant, and it proved to be valuable, and we continued to fund the position even when the grant disappeared. We did have some assistance. Our state senator, Jim Seward, did a great job of helping us out, and then that money kind of dried up. But we've continued, and we, I believe, have a commitment as a council, and as you heard this evening, for the general public, to continue that is an important position. We just need to make sure, as the chief stated, that he's able to cover the most important, well, they're all important responsibilities, but there's different things he has to make sure he's taken care of. And it's not just the COP position, but over the last 10 years, we had a K-9 position, had a second one, we have one still. With council, it's been appreciated that you've supported the police department. We continue to support the chief as he continues to keep the department going forward. And we also know that it's not unique to Cortland in terms of staffing. When you read and see what's happening in terms of other communities, similar issues in terms of staffing. But we're going to get through this. We'll get staff back up, and we're going to have not just a full staff, but the high-quality department that we know and love. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Number 8, resolution to allow the annual 9/11 ceremony, including a street closure, for Saturday, September 11th, from 5 a.m. until 11 a.m. Motion to consider. One back with second. Katie Silverman, discussion.
Great idea.
That's going to be on a Saturday, right?
Yes, sir.
You're going to be there at 5 a.m. on a Saturday?
I think that was a typo, but.
That must have been a no, huh?
I think I'll be there at 6.
Chief's fine and breakfast.
My 5-year-old gets up early, I'll get down there and start throwing some cones in.
Yes, this will be a Saturday. We are planning like a half-day event. We will have more than one speaker. We plan on having a food vendor there. We will get the health department permits and so forth. And we're going to try to make it as educational as we can to the public. And then after our ceremony, Homer will start a ceremony over in their jurisdiction. That'll include things at the Living History Museum, and then followed by their presentation down at their site. But we do plan on having this be a much larger ceremony than normal because we will do the 20th anniversary. So we invite everybody to come, and obviously if our dreaded pandemic continues or resurfaces, then we'll take all appropriate actions to make sure people stay safe. Oh.
Very good. Any further questions for Chief? Chief, did you have a chance to talk to anybody in the fire department, make sure they're okay with it? They're going to be able to get the trucks out and everything?
Chief Friedman has assured me his cooperation as usual. They'll have their new trucks out there washed and waxed.
Is the chief going to be there at 5 a.m. too?
He's the one that's going to set up, and he'll be ready when Paul gets there.
He's the one cooking breakfast.
There we go.
Very good. Council, any further questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And it's nice to have some lightheartedness and some levity, but obviously this is a solemn occasion for many of us, and it's one that is very poignant, and really do appreciate the time and effort that everybody puts in making this very much a well-run and appropriate event. So thank you. Agenda item, this will be number 9, resolution to lift the hiring freeze to hire a water distribution maintenance worker in the water department, it's currently vacant, and an MEO heavy sewer operator at the Department of Public Works. This second position will be officially vacated as of September 3rd of this year. Motion to consider. Troy Beckwith, second. Bruce Titler, discussion. We have one vacant, the other that will become vacant. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. And then number 10, resolution to approve the hiring of a water distribution maintenance worker at the water department immediately and an MEO heavy sewer operator at the DPW effective September 3rd, 2021. Motion to consider. Bill Carpenter, second. Katie Silverman, discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. And number 11, resolution to approve the local law for the fire department cost recovery program. Motion to consider. Bruce Titler, second. Katie Silverman, discussion. And for any who are unaware, and I believe this is MBA's motor vehicle accidents, the ability to bill insurance for some of the costs.
I think it's a good idea. I appreciate the work that Chief and his colleagues put into creating the whole plan, the fee structure, and explaining it. Well done.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Number 12, resolution to authorize the mayor to execute 3 Department of Public Works related contracts and/or service agreements. One is a lease with the ARC for Cortland Armory. Number 2 is an agreement with Cortland Pest Control. And number 3, an agreement with the Syracuse Time and Alarm Company. Motion to consider. Bill Carpenter, second. Katie Silverman, discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Number 13, resolution to approve an exotic pet permit for chickens at 16 below. Motion to consider. Tom Michael, second. Bill Carpenter, discussion.
I did reach out to the individual. She did get rid of the rooster at this point, so there's no reason to hold back in the permit now. And I'm sure that the neighbors will certainly appreciate this as well.
And looking, there are letters of support for approval from neighbors in the packet. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. And the next item of discussion, Airbnb and VRBO, vacation rentals, oh shoot, what's the VO stand for?
By owner.
By owner. Thank you. So at this point, we're looking for some direction from council. Airbnbs and VRBOs, currently we don't have anything on the books in the city of Cortland. We're covering rentals and we're covering owner occupied, but this seems to be a specific niche that we do not have much on. And the question for council is, what do we want to do? And asking for support going forward, drafting legislation that would regulate Airbnbs and vacation rentals. So we're talking about short-term rentals.
Obviously, Mr. Ray's not here, and obviously he's the one put something together for anything.
Yeah. And the idea was bringing it to council first, make sure that, and then if there's anything in particular with regard to thoughts, if you're seeing issues, if you've heard of issues in your ward, please bring them forward. And we'll be able to have conversations and make sure that we're putting forward legislation that is going to address what we think it needs to and do it appropriately.
I guess it'd be helpful to know, like, exactly where these properties are located.
So that's part of it right now, how do you know?
Exactly. Being kind of involved with some of this now, it's important that there's some kind of oversight, exactly, regarding complaints and what's all whatnot. That also need to be followed up on some kind of complaint hotline or something like that, so that we know that individuals that are writing these properties are getting complaints to their property. There's a little bit more work that I'm interested in hearing about discussed and report to us.
So location is a big concern, and then,
Yes.
Yeah, I think Bob, knowing Bob, I'm sure he's doing his homework and probably looking into what other communities are doing. I agree with him, having something to us, some recommendations he has in the past. I think you're right, this is something that we probably need to get on and have some kind of structures in place, because I can see the potential for abuses, and it might not, this thing might not fit all neighborhoods. So that's something to consider.
It's possible, yeah. Especially with the clientele and the actual users of these properties. You know, they're going to rent some of these out there in the ski season, where, you know, what's the actual condition of the rental properties?
I think I've looked for Cortland on, I can't remember if I did Airbnb or Vrbo, which is how they pronounce that acronym, and they're already here. There are already some in the city. So I think it would be good if we put something together.
Where I know I was near around it, so we're running Airbnb around that, so there, what is the tax we had years ago on the hotels we were talking about last year?
occupancy tax.
They're getting into that, so there's occupancy taxes that municipalities and one recoup some of that. So it's an idea. That's what I think. Very good.
So at this point, we're going to move forward and start to draft proposed legislation. And like I said, if you're hearing about and you're starting, neighbors are bringing to your attention, by all means, bring it forward and same for the general public. We want to make sure that we're allowing opportunities, but not at the expense of residents and quality of life. All right, number 15, there's a plethora in this. So tonight, the goal is to introduce this to council and to the general public. We're not looking for a vote or really any in-depth discussion, but opportunity for discussion regarding potential changes to the city's zoning code. And we did a major overhaul of the zoning code 2 years ago, but it being what we call a living or breathing document, it can and should have changes periodically. There are a number of things that have come forward. Some of them are changes that we made that maybe there was a good reason to leave them the way they were, and then other items that are coming forward that just make sense for us to consider. So I wanted to share this with council, and if there's any thoughts this evening, we can bring it forward for more discussion next meeting. And just as importantly, making it out to the public, getting it out to the public so that others have the opportunity to share their input as well.
I thought it was, I didn't see anything in those changes that didn't make sense to me, especially, I think it was, I don't have it right in front of me, I forgot I sent someplace tonight. It seems like it was a G1, we wanted to be able to allow the solar field that we're, in order to, and we really want, I think we should be moving forward on that, and we need to make those zoning changes, as I recall, speaking with Bob, in order to be able to do that. And there's a spot in the Rosen site that really can't be used for anything except for something like a solar field. So, I mean, that's the one that stood out in my mind. There's some other things. He was cleaning up some things that got missed before, but I'm ready to go down these as soon as we can. Am I just remembering the thing on the solar field? Am I
guys have that.
One parcel we've already given to the land to move forward.
In terms of the exploration and viability, but they're not gonna have any shovels in the ground yet, so to speak.
My understanding
Somebody's
from
back
Bob
in
was-
your court at this point.
My understanding from speaking to Bob though, is we couldn't actually place those there until we made the zoning changes, that's what he told me. So, I mean, we've done a lot of homework, but in actually, in order to put them there, we still need to make these changes.
This original document had things in red, indicate changes, and this is just in black and white, and I think especially for the public, it would be helpful that we're in red.
I think the way we left the voting station through application, not to make it a general site for anybody to put solar place on there. We want some control over something.
This says solar ground mounted units permitted in the G1 district with special use permit.
Yes.
So it would require a special use permit, which means it would still go before the planning commission. It's not an automatic right, it would require going to the planning commission. And part of this, the discussion that we had previous to the zoning code updates, the discussion about ground mounted solar was, okay, we didn't think that was appropriate for residential areas, which the city is heavily residential. But correctly, we've identified one place in particular that probably this is a good use of the property. So this would be an appropriate adjustment.
Yes.
It would be helpful to have it here to talk to.
I think we also have to look at rooftop stuff too, because that's getting pretty popular. Especially factories is one, gives them a chance to make a lot of extra money. And we don't see it because on top of a roof.
Very true.
That's when we come. Because we're not gonna let them do them on the ground, so they have to put them somewhere.
All right, any further discussion regarding zoning? And agenda item number 16, discussion and hopefully eventually resolution regarding a proposed citywide credit card policy. So there's a draft, and I believe it's legal number 9. We've had a couple of discussions, and wanted to put this to council. This has been discussed a couple of times. And what I'd like to do is have discussion, and then we can do one more opportunity for discussion at the next council meeting and vote, hopefully.
I'd like to vote on it tonight. Let's just vote on it tonight. We've all read this, we've had plenty of time to discuss it. It's been floating around far too long. I would like to vote on it tonight.
All right, so I believe Bruce is proposing resolution to adopt a citywide credit card policy, and we have attached.
Correct.
Right. So motion is on the floor. Do we have a second? Troy Beckwith, discussion.
Do you want to specify draft 9?
What is currently labeled draft 9, yes.
Over draft 10 is the one thing.
Can we revise it to final draft? Can we revise it to final?
To make draft 9 the final revision.
Yes.
And we'll call the final revision number 10, just because it's a nice even number. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you. And that actually segues nicely because we have number 17, resolution to authorize the mayor to file a response with the comptroller's office regarding the city's corrective action plan in response to the comptroller's office audit. So number, motion on the floor. Second, Bill Carpenter. Discussion. And council, we can, if we would like, go into executive session to talk about some of the aspects of the response. Or if you're comfortable with what I shared, then we can just vote and move forward.
I would like to think about it today, just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
So I'll ask, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss the corrective action plan for the comptroller's audit. Purpose that there's some, I'll call it human resources or personnel issues to discuss. And if we are adjourning into executive session due to labor negotiations, agenda item number 9 is options for appropriating American Rescue Plan funds. So we will adjourn into executive session to discuss numbers 17 and 18. Rick, was there anything else that you had for an executive session?
Yes, a labor issue.
And a third item to discuss in executive session will be a labor issue. And I would say that we do anticipate taking some action when we adjourn from executive session. So do we have a motion to adjourn into executive session? And we got Paul Carpenter, second by Katie. All those in favor of adjourning into executive session, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are temporarily adjourned. We will be back. Okay.
Will we hear the final draft of it tonight or no?
Of
what you're submitting?
It's approved.
Yes?
Once
Okay.
it's approved, then yes.
Okay.
If we've got some things we need to work on, then possibly. Thank you for your patience. Number 17, resolution to authorize the mayor to file a response with the comptroller's office regarding the city's corrective action plan, CAP, in response to the comptroller's office audit. Motion to consider. Bill Carpenter, second. Bruce Titler, discussion. So for people who may not be familiar, the comptroller's office came in and they did an audit, which they do of municipalities, school districts, and the purpose of the audit is to look for weaknesses and to make recommendations about how local government can improve their functioning. And they had a couple of recommendations. We've accepted the recommendations. We have a strong corrective action plan that will address all their concerns in the short term. Within the next couple of weeks, we think we'll have everything sorted out. And they broke the audit into 2 parts, but I've asked council to approve the corrective action plan as one part because it was one audit. They broke it into 2 parts, and I think part of that was the issue with COVID. We're prepared to do a response for both parts, which is one report all at once.
Yes.
And this will finalize it.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. And then number 18, discussion of options for appropriating American Rescue Plan funds. Anything council would like to discuss here? Are there things that just conceptually you really would like to see? Or any feedback? Because I'd like to make some formal recommendations and based upon your input, be able to.
Well, I would like to see money spent on, invested in sidewalks. I did bring it up in my war report, but I had another constituent that called and had an issue with a spouse that was trying to navigate our sidewalks in a wheelchair and fell and was injured, and it's not the first time I've had this phone call. I want us to use some of this money for sidewalks, and I'd like to use as much as we possibly can, as much as my colleagues will support for sidewalks. That's, I mean, I have a lot of ideas, but I know it's late, and that's something I want to bring up tonight.
I think it's important, what you said, is
The mic.
how they're wearing out and the danger,
Yes. Yeah.
liability wise.
Use the mic, please. It's an equity issue. Go ahead.
So,
It's on, you just weren't close
okay,
enough.
sorry. No, I think it's a good idea. I think
Thank you.
You've got people that are disabled, and we need to start putting money towards those issues that they have.
Yeah, the sidewalks, it's a public venue, they're like streets, we all use them. And, you know, if I'm in a sidewalk, if I'm in a wheelchair, or if I have other ambulatory issues, or if I have sight issues, then I can't move out as much as others can. It's just not right on a lot of levels. So I said my piece, Mary had asked, and that's something that's, I would like to definitely use that money for.
I would like to see some of the money used to assist those in our community who help people in the community who are struggling. So, childcare providers, maybe we could have a pool to help those people if they aren't licensed and need things to help them, because they certainly provided a big service. We've talked about funds to repair the World War I memorial in the park. That's on city property. Basically, a lot of this money we'd like to see help people in the community.
To add to that, I think community beautification or use of infrastructure that the community uses, so whether that's our parks or public art, things that are going to make the community a better place, or provide improvements for everybody.
Yes.
I would support both of those. Those are good ideas as well, yes.
I mean, I know, when I was the 5th Ward Alderman, I know Tommy and I talked about Randall, that park over there, the tennis courts, and
Yes.
quite the eyesore.
Yes.
We gotta do something with that. We'll talk about pickleball as a big sport now, up-and-coming sport, where Dexter's being used a lot, and now that we need to maybe renovate a couple courts there, and it's long overdue.
Yeah, maybe, right now it's not really child friendly per se. Maybe a splash park, right now it's catered basically for adults. But to bring this down to a lower level where children can enjoy it as well, certainly something
That would cover that area of the city also.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are great ideas, yeah.
We had in the past a middle-income home improvement program that was a low-interest loan from the city to do things that would increase the curb appeal, trying to freshen up neighborhoods, things like painting a house or fixing a porch, things like that. And we weren't able to fund that, I think, the last 2 years. And so it would be good to get some seed money into that and put that out where people in the community could apply for those projects again. And that's something that Toma administers for us, so we already have the structure in place for it. That would be good.
So I don't know, it's late here, I don't know how long you want to discuss this. We have a lot of ideas. We could spend probably an hour talking about how we like to just get this money out and then best serve the community.
Very good.
Well, that concludes the formal agenda. Is there any further business to come before the council this evening? And hearing no further business, we can entertain a motion to adjourn. Kat McCarthy, second Katie Silliman. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Stay connected. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.